Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Beyond the Mask. So today I've decided to do something a little differently. As the title suggests, I've basically decided to return to Scream 6. When the movie came out, there was so much hype around the release of it and everyone was sharing their own opinions and so on, and one of the major aspects that people criticised, me included, was more directly aimed towards the killers. Detective Bailey, Ethan and Quinn initially were one of my least favourite aspects of the movie. On face value, the intimidation factor was almost at a zero, unmasked. There were a few deleted aspects of the killers that added to their lore which could contribute to them being better, but at the same time it wasn't enough to make me fully appreciate them. However, yesterday over on Twitter I asked everyone who they thought was the darkest Ghostface, and many people replied, but one reply was actually from my friend Zach Cherry. Now Zach really said something that made me reconsider my whole thought process on these killers. He said, Wayne, he raised a murderer and then indoctrinated his two other children into his own murder scheme. Even worse, they mostly killed literal strangers for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. With that said, he's still my least favourite. So let's just reconsider this for a moment. From a story perspective, Detective Bailey initiated his children to commit acts of murder. He clearly gaslighted Ethan into believing he was inferior to Richie, to the point he and Ethan murdered Mrs. Bailey due to her learning of the plan to attack Sam and disagreeing with it. This is completely different to Mrs. Loomis. She wanted revenge for Sidney killing Billy. Detective Bailey actively chose to force his kids into helping him murder innocent people. With that thought in mind, I can only imagine what their home life was like. What would their backstory be? What exactly happened to Mrs. Bailey? These killers were so dark, and I feel like people, including myself, took the characters off face value when they were revealed. But when you sit and think about this, it's quite dark. So with all this in mind, one of the main purposes of this video is to announce a new series of videos I'm intending on making this month. As you guys are aware, I've been working on turning the movies into novelizations for you guys to read. And I did several videos a while back, and I submitted my first novel to Paramount 2 months ago. I've heard back from them, and at the moment we're in active discussion about the novels. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to say much else, but for the channel, I will be continuing to do more writing for the franchise. So in the coming weeks I'm going to be discussing some backstories for all of the killers from the franchise, basically explaining how they ended up in their dark paths, what instigated it, the first moments they killed and so on. And all this will be based on what we learned from dialogue in the movie, comments from the writers, Wes Craven, Radio Silence and more. I'm hoping to cover the Bailey Kirsch family in these chapters, and I promise these will add so much lore to these characters. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on this awesome Scream content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.